doing it? When are you? Okay. Fuck.
Sorry.
All right. There's a lot of problems with doing this show. Number one, no one wants to come over to this house and talk to us. Number two, no one wants us to call them and let us talk to them. Number three, the people here, except for Richard and Tom, i.e. Ken and Michael, they'll say all kinds of fucking fabulously interesting things off camera. They'll tell you on the phone, they'll text you, they'll put it on Facebook, they'll put it under your mother's grave, they'll write it on your forehead, but don't bring any of it up on video. So we're getting together every week at Richard's house, and all these interesting things are said every week in Richard's office and in Richard's kitchen. We move in one room, and we don't get to say any of these things because they're verboten. And Ken says I blindsided him by he came over my house and said blah 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 Richard WIcka blah blah, and then I brought it up 3 hours later. On video? What an asshole! You can't do that. That's you're backdooring me. And now Richard's walking out. Oh my God! I didn't expect this. Oh, it's always for the light. Okay. So what the fuck? Where have we come to? No one wants to come here. When they do come here, they're offended, or they're like, "Why are you saying that stuff to me?" The last guest we had, Harvey Bryce, was like, "Why are you saying that stuff to me? Why?" And every musician we have on says, "You're a fucking asshole, Greg. You people there are fucking assholes. I hate you. I hate Tim Saraki. I hate Michael. I hate Ken." And so you can't have anyone on because you have to talk about them, and then you have to bow to them and say, "You're great, you're great, you're great." Richard, there's a problem here. There's some kind of problem with communication. Go ahead.
I have a theory about that.
Yeah.
People are so used to watching movies and seeing the movie is removed from real life.
Yeah.
That when they finally are in the media themselves, it must be removed from real life.
Yeah.
It can't be real life.
It's got to be phony. You know how you hear about phony showbiz? And this is not showbiz, but it's like amateur hour showbizy type thing. And therefore, it's got to be removed. You got to say, "Oh, love your music. Love your song. Tell me more about it. Oh, it's wonderful." You can't criticize anything that anyone plays when they come on a show. And you can't have a real conversation with anybody. And now these guys who sometimes, like Ken can have a real conversation on the show as long as he's drunk. Are you drunk yet? You're a little tipsy.
I'm a little. Yeah.
So you can say something real now?
You want me to talk about the liquors and stickers, don't you?
Well, I enjoy that, yes, but you don't want to because you told me and Richard that it's something we can't talk about. You can do a whole long, hateful spiel in the kitchen. How long was that? 2 or 3 minute spiel, right? It was really interesting. And then he says, "I can't talk about it on the air." And then Michael says all these interesting things. He even says, so in a preamble, the first thing he says in his preamble is, "Richard and Ken and Greg, I want to tell you something interesting, very, very interesting, since we're not on the air." But we're going on the air in 15 minutes. I know, but I'd like to. Well, yeah, how do you defend that, Michael? You can say all these interesting things, but don't say them on the air. What is the point? Why don't we just hang out in the kitchen every Saturday night now, from now on, right?
Backlash.
Richard, do you think maybe we should just, with the 4 of us,
Secret microphone,
and Tom Windsor, the 5 of us, and my wife, the 6 of us, should we just come to your house,
sit in the kitchen,
sit in your kitchen, and sit in the office? Because we have we have closer to honest, in fact, usually very honest. Most of the time they're closer to honest, and a lot of times they're very honest conversations in your office and in the kitchen about philosophy, about life, about our personal lives. And then we come here in this room, Richard, and we put the video on, and I say some truthful things, and you say some truthful things, but he's got to be drunk, Ken's got to be drunk, and Michael's got to have, he's got so many defense mechanisms up, it's amazing. He's got a whole wall of defense mechanisms up. I said you Thursday, Michael, I said, "I'm going to ask you a question 2 days from now." I gave him a 2-day warning. He said, "I'll say no comment to that." What the fuck? He gave me this whole spiel at the poetry reading we went to, right? This is long. We're talking for 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Having a really interesting conversation for 15 minutes. I say, "Well, I'm going to ask you about that in the air Saturday because this is an interesting conversation." He says, "I'll say no comment." What if I go on top of you and keeps asking you? "I'll say no comment." I'm like, what the fuck? I actually discussed it with Richard and Ken, and they were like, "Well, you got to ask him indirectly to skirt around the issue, because if you ask him directly, he's going to remember and say no comment." What the fuck kind of show is this? This show used to be about the truth.
Yeah.
And now
nothing but the truth.
And we did one truthful show last week, and Richard liked it because it was a very special episode. We did a very special episode about you, Michael.
What happened?
You.
What happened?
And then what happens is the next week, after doing a very special episode where it's almost all about Michael and his life, the next week I say...
Can I say something?
Yeah.
It's just like in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, he's Billy Bibbit.
Yeah.
And Nurse Ratched says, "Well, Billy, what is your mother going to say about this?" my
Then he starts-
mother.
Like Michael's fucking the girl, fucking the prostitute.
Hey!
You fucked prostitutes. You already admitted that. You brought that up yourself on the
didn't
show.
know that was a
You
joke.
said-
It was a
oh,
joke.
now it's a joke. It wasn't a joke for the last 16 weeks since you said it.
good
But
God.
suddenly, you have no defense mechanism left, do you, Michael? He just burned it out. I see prostitutes. They come to my house. And now, he keeps along there for 16
Hey, when
weeks.
is
All of a
that
sudden
party?
I know. Then he says it's a joke.
When's the party?
What's the prostitute party? No,
Oh,
it's a
for the
joke.
love of God.
He was kidding all the time.
suck.
Were you kidding in the very special episode last week when you poured out your feelings for 20 minutes? Were you kidding then? Come on, Michael. Were you kidding then?
You need some Kleenex?
20 minutes we talked about. Richard was so proud of the fact that he was on the show. He said for one of the few times ever, he said, I was very proud. This I'm speaking. No, keep it on him. I'll do his voice. I was very proud to be in this great real Greg Sterlace show where Michael talks about his real feelings in his real life. So I'm thinking, yeah, that's great. We'll continue that next week. I'm going to ask you one question on Saturday, Michael. And he says, I'll be saying no comments on that, Greg. What the fuck? We did a whole 20 minutes on you last week. I said I'm going to ask you one innocuous question.
Look, I can't
was it a
even hear
horrible
myself. I can't hear
question?
myself.
Was it a
Did
horrible
everybody hear
question I was going to ask you?
No,
Was it innocuous?
No, here's the thing, okay?
Just
Richard,
was it a horrible
Richard
thing?
was
He was proud of this, what we did. And now you're saying we. Oh,
when
forget
you
that.
have the viewing audience come to the studio after hours,
You hear the violin
I don't
music?
feel it.
you're talking like the villagers coming with the pitchforks and the torches to the Frankenstein castle, okay? And they're like
Dr. Frankenstein.
Dr.
Cancel,
Frankenstein,
yes.
Dr. Wickenstein.
Dr. Wickenstein. And they came to your castle. One of them came to your castle this week,
I mean,
Richard.
when that starts happening,
You have to say
realize
no
that
comment, you have to go back in your shell.
You're reaching a part of the audience.
Look at it this way. You do a very special episode about your life and your feelings. One of the viewers comes to Wickenstein's house and says to Dr. Wickenstein, she says all these things to him, right? So you've got no heart. No heart. Get a heart, man. Go to a wizard or something. And Richard, can you fix him up? No one can give this guy a heart. He says all these heartless things in the kitchen. I say, can we talk about it? No, I'm talking about it. I have to go back into my shell. He has to go back into his shell. Mike wants to go back in his shell. What the fuck? So anyways, the logical thing is when someone does a 20-minute show about themselves, and then one of the viewers comes to Dr. Wicca's house and says, I'd like to discuss that show, I think there should be a follow-up question for Michael for this week's show. And he says, no, I'm going to go back in my shell. I spewed some stuff out for 20 minutes last week. That's good enough. Once one viewer with a pitchfork and a torch comes to... She didn't come with a pitchfork or a torch. She
came with an olive branch.
She came with an olive branch of love and peace.
Was it on fire?
And I want to ask you, and you're back in your shell. Ken's in his shell. Ken is saying stuff so fascinating in the kitchen. And Richard's saying, that's controversial. There'll be a lot of opinions on that. There'll be a lot of opinions. And Ken says, I know there will be. I don't want people to know my opinion. And, you said it all.
I have friends on my Facebook page, and
yes. And they'll find out your real opinion. So you didn't tell your friends your real opinion yet?
No.
Oh, my God.
They
And
watch
the
the
weird
show?
thing, his real opinion, Richard, you know where it comes
They
from?
watch the show?
I don't think
No,
watch the
it
show.
might just get out somehow. If they don't watch the show, what's the difference?
Yeah.
It won't seep out then.
Who knows?
But you know if you can tell what it might seep out. Richard, you know the thing is
It's what you post underneath the program.
That's
what it's
right.
about.
That's right. When
Ken
someone says,
finally
Ken
said,
says,
what do you talk about?
and then when Richard types up, he'll say, Ken spoke of blah, blah, blah. And then someone will find out and they'll say, oh my God, we didn't know that was the real him. And all his spewing in the kitchen, it comes from love and what Jesus would do. Is that correct, Ken?
Yeah.
So
written.
you've just agreed with me that everything you said was what Jesus would say and do, yet you can't speak about it in the air? Don't we all know what Jesus would do and what a loving guy he was in the New Testament, et cetera, and all those movies about him that they extrapolate from the New Testament? He's doing New Testament stuff, Richard. He just admitted he was, but he can't speak about it on video? I'm doing what Jesus would do and I can't speak about it on video?
Well, look what happened to the chick in Kentucky.
You're like a chick in Kentucky?
She got crucified.
Chicken.
Kentucky
Wait a
chicken.
minute.
Kentucky fried chick.
She got crucified.
So she got crucified. So Richard, do you believe that Ken will get crucified if he speaks like Jesus would speak? Would he get crucified like Jesus did?
Well, now this brings us back to the conversation that we had last week. If you say something and there are consequences, are you willing to accept the consequences?
But he's not, because he's thinking, he just said that people don't know. It's good. I'm glad you're not telling anyone your real opinions, Ken, because then you get mad at me and say, I made you tell your real opinion. But this way, we're skirting the issue because he's not giving his real opinion. We know, you and I know his real opinion. We heard his real opinions, his Jesus opinions, extrapolated from Jesus Christ, Almighty God, our Lord and Savior. And yet he can't speak about it in the air. Now I'm thinking, what would Jesus think of this? Would Jesus think, this guy's following my word, and yet he can't speak about it on video. He can only speak about it in the kitchen with the two people and then hope that they never say anything to anybody. Does that really seem like Jesus? Well, wouldn't Jesus be thinking, what the fuck?
I know you're proud of me, fucker.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm just saying it's fascinating now that I realize it's from Jesus.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, because usually what would Jesus do?
No.
Everyone's willing to say, I follow what Jesus would do.
That's why
I can
people
talk about
say it on the air. That's why the chick in Kentucky said what she said on the air.
The chicken from Kentucky.
Chicken.
Kentucky.
And the guy from, what's that other show?
Colonel Sanders, yes.
Colonel Sanders.
The hunter guy. The
hunter, the gatherer. Oh, the
guy that voiced his opinion, and then they were going to ban him from the A&E.
But how can you be banned from YouTube? You can't be banned from YouTube. Is the thing you're talking about? Is it coming from a place of love and peace, Ken? Is it coming from a place of love?
What?
Well, it's coming from what Jesus would do, and he's known as a peace and love kind of guy. So is it coming from a place of love?
I'm just stating what it says in the Bible, man.
That's right. He's just stating what it says in the Bible.
You can't change what's in it.
You can't change what's in the Bible.
Not a bunch of racists or fucking slave owners that made up these bullshit rights.
That's right. So you're saying that Thomas Jefferson, being a slave owner, was a racist. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
He was a racist. Michael, right? Thomas Jefferson.
And he was a Mason.
And he was a Freemason. And Thomas Jefferson, Richard, he said, Michael, you can chime in on this, you too. Thomas Jefferson said, let's all be equal men, right? And he actually was a slave owner. Now, isn't that heavy racism?
Was a slave owner.
Heavy racism, Michael?
I wasn't alive back then, and I can't.
So that's not heavy racism because you weren't alive? So
No,
you
I
were
don't
alive
know
in
for sure
1776?
They're
what
supposed to be our
Jefferson was
forefathers.
doing.
Hello.
I mean,
every president on our money is a slave owner. Did you ever think of that?
Yeah, Thomas Jefferson had.
How come they don't change that?
They were taking people off ships from Africa, the continent of Africa, and he was buying them to work at his house.
What a creep.
And that's not. So now you're saying it is racism. You said you couldn't tell a minute ago because you weren't alive then?
No, I said you say things about people, and
Yeah.
We the only thing we know is things that we read.
Yes.
Were written down in history.
Yes.
All right. So so those things are.
Oh, if you're saying it was fake, if none of the, you're saying there might be a conspiracy
I'm
that
just
all
saying
the founding fathers who were slave owners were.
That's actually what happened. Then that was wrong.
You never heard of this before? You've never heard of the founding fathers being slave owners until I just mentioned it?
No, I heard about it.
You heard about it? So you didn't believe it? You didn't want to believe it because they're such wonderful men.
Much I could have
and they're on
done
your
about it.
$5
Not much
bill.
I could do about it. I'm going to throw all my $5 bills out.
No, Lincoln's okay. Lincoln's all right. That's why I misspoke there.
Wait a minute.
Lincoln's all right.
Oh, okay.
Didn't you hear about the Civil War? You didn't hear about the Civil War either? You never heard about the Civil fucking War?
I heard about the Civil fucking War. I wasn't there.
Oh my! So like if I talked about some event in the news from last week, you'd say, "Well, I wasn't there."
Well, I wasn't there.
So the only news stories in history you buy into are when you're actually there.
Look, this
so it
is
has to be the last 60 years, and you have to be in the room. Oh, I was in the room when Kennedy got shot, so therefore I know about it. Otherwise, I can't say. If I wasn't in Dallas on the grassy knoll, how can I say if he got shot or not? I was in Buffalo in school all the time. When they said the president's been shot, I thought, wait a minute, I wasn't there. How can I fucking know? I can't say anyone shot the president. I can't say anyone's a racist. When they shot Martin Luther King Jr., I never thought, oh, that guy might be a racist for shooting Martin Luther King Jr. No, because I wasn't there in Memphis. How can I know? I can't know. All I can know is stuff in Western New York that happen in my vicinity. Like what history? Do you know that? What news stories do you know? Zero? How many news stories and historical things of importance have happened around you, Michael? How many? I've never had any around me. I mean, I just go by the history books, the news, people. God. Yeah, how can you say that Thomas Jefferson's a racist? You weren't alive then. You weren't living with them. If he was alive then, it wouldn't have mattered either because he wouldn't have been living with them. I wasn't at Thomas Jefferson's place. I wasn't at Monticello's. Or is that what it is? Monticello?
He was fucking his goddamn maids, man. His slaves.
Was he fucking his goddamn black maid or not?
Hell yeah.
No, you weren't there.
I watched this movie. I watched this movie. 12 years a slave. 12 years a slave.
And you couldn't believe it because you weren't there.
No, I did believe it.
You thought that was real?
Michael Fassbender or whatever.
Oh yeah, he's a good actor. He is Fassbender. Yeah.
Fassbender.
Whatever.
Fassbender. Yeah.
Michael Fassbender. Yeah. He's an English bloke.
No, the question is
what the fuck?
No, honestly,
what cave are you living in? You're not only in a cocoon, you're in a cave. I can't speak. No comment. And then when he does comment, he says,
I find it hard to believe that anybody could have that kind of a mental capacity.
What?
Yeah, for slave ownership?
How does anybody think
so
that
you don't think it ever happened?
They were.
No, there's no slave ownership.
Washington.
I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying
Richard, he can't
problem.
He has no slave owner mentality himself, so he can't understand anyone else would ever do that. How do you feel about that?
How do you feel about that, Richard?
How do you feel about this bullshit? No, he has an opinion. He has an opinion. Is that ridiculous or what? He can't relate because he's not a slave owner himself. He can't relate.
And I don't have Asperger's, so we can't blame that.
No, you don't have Asperger's. Richard, what do you think about
being the Tin Man?
Isn't this a kind of a cop out, Richard? I wasn't there. I don't have the slave. It's like he's like saying I'm not a murderer, so I can't understand anyone ever murdering.
It's very puzzling.
It's super puzzling. You're
That's
a puzzle,
not that
man.
Puzzling. That's not that puzzling.
Because you're not a murderer or a slave owner yourself.
Murder somebody, I can't understand how somebody else could murder somebody.
So you can or you can't?
I can't.
Oh my God! So you can't. So you can't understand any fucking thing in life except what you've done. So everyone who's a racist, everyone's a murderer, everyone who does this, everyone who likes dogs, you can't relate to that because you don't like dogs.
Hey, wait a minute.
Right? He doesn't.
Wait a minute.
No, he don't.
He slid it in.
No.
What slid it? He doesn't like dogs.
That's what she said.
So he can't relate to that because
there's a code.
He's not a dog lover. I mean, he can relate to it. He can relate only to the fact that he doesn't like dogs. If someone likes dogs, you can't relate to that because you don't like dogs, right, Michael?
I'm not a dog person.
All you can relate to is drinking. You love drinking.
Are you a liquor?
Are you sure this is your favorite part of the week, being on the show? You told me before the show started, this is your favorite thing to do is to be here at Richard's house.
It is the favorite thing.
So it's still your favorite
thing? You should
try
that nose.
It is the favorite thing I do.
But it's like he's in a cocoon. I can't say anything.
No,
I can't even slip in a dog comment. The guy, this is what we got tonight. Ken, I'm spouting Jesus' word from the New Testament, but I can't discuss it on the air. Right? Then I say this guy, you don't like dogs, and Ken says, he's slipping in something about dogs! Oh my God! And even though Michael agrees, I don't like dogs. So what I said is, you don't like dogs, Michael, and Michael says, yes, I don't like dogs. And Ken says, he's slipping something in about dogs! What? You don't like dogs, and he's spouting the Jesus stuff. What is wrong with either of those things? Now these are too controversial? Me saying that Michael hates dogs, dislikes dogs, and that Ken spouts Jesus, and he can't discuss it on the air. These are too controversial now. Richard,
I have something I want to talk about.
Narrow van.
I can't.
How's that $1.99 buffet doing?
Yeah, how's that going? Is that a narrow band, Richard? When I say you don't like dogs, he says yes, that's bad. And I say it's from Jesus, right? He says yes, that's bad. Now we can't even do Jesus. I love Jesus and I don't like dogs. That's how low we've gone in 1 week. Last week was a very special episode. Remember you were proud of us? Now we're going the opposite way.
Who knew there would be a Nurse Ratched saying, "What is your mother going to say about that?"
Yeah, and he starts stuttering. And it's just because one viewer came here without a pitchfork, without a torch.
And I pictured myself more the Jack Nicholson character.
No, you're Billy Babbitt all the way.
Come on.
You live and breathe. Is that his name, Billy Babbitt? Bibbit. You're Billy Bibbit all the way.
Bibbit.
You're Billy Bibbit all the way.
The guy who tore the wall.
You're either that or you're Danny DeVito. It's one of those two. I mean.
Now, I would like to say something. If you have a TV show and a viewer comes to your house, doesn't that mean your TV show is engaging people?
Yeah, it was last week. Not this time when we can't say anything. When we're being held under shackles.
I think that was a big compliment.
It was a really big compliment because it was thought-provoking. It was real and it was thought-provoking, and we only did it once, and now it's over.
Why? Because it proved we have one viewer?
Wow.
No, because it's affecting someone so much they come over to Richard's house to speak to him about it in a non-confrontational manner.
Here we go.
No, you're saying if a viewer's not affected, they're gonna come over to Richard's house.
This person couldn't send a letter.
No, that would have still been affected either way. Letter.
A letter.
But the most personal thing is coming over and talking to Richard.
Yeah.
That's taking it right to the source. Richard would say, don't phone me, don't send me a letter. If you have something interesting and constructive to talk about,
don't phone me.
Don't phone. He doesn't like the phone.
You'll never get through the message.
Well, because that drains him. But I mean, coming over and discussing something logically and rationally, and here's how I was affected by the show. That's great.
Plus, when you come over in person, you have a dialogue.
A dialogue.
Yeah.
It's a real live
Not
dialogue.
like right now where we can't talk about anything.
Well, we can, but you don't want to. I mean, I respect you.
If you take the
I respect you, Ken.
If you take
I
the
respect
front end,
Michael.
No, you don't.
I do.
If you take the front end of dialogue
What do you mean
and the
I don't?
back
I
end of
said I did.
dialogue, and it turns out to be dog, okay?
Yeah.
Okay?
What?
Dialogue, dog.
Anyways, that makes no sense to me.
What the hell did you get that?
Oh, can I?
Well, you
can
take
I,
the aya out of
Michael,
please.
we haven't said one.
We've only got 8 minutes left.
We haven't said one damn thing on his show yet. Has it been entertaining? To me, it has. But
Listen,
we haven't
all
said
I was
one
saying
damn- Hey, no, don't get into that.
No, don't
You
get
sure?
into it.
I don't want you to complain to me in the car. I don't. Want
I'm
you
not going to say.
I don't want to have a fight in the car with you saying that I'm goading you. I'm not goading you into anything. I want you to be quiet about that subject. Just be quiet about it. You love Jesus. We got that. You believe in God. We got that. Is that fine? The Jesus and God thing? I'm an atheist.
Exactly.
Now I've become a full atheist. I've become a full atheist because of Ken.
I drink all night. I sleep all day.
I used to be an agnostic until I met Ken, and now I've become an atheist. Richard's an atheist.
I'm a
Michael,
truth seeker.
Yeah, I'm a truth seeker too. But we're not getting that out of these guys tonight, are we? They're both hiding in their little cocoons.
I'm not hiding.
You are too.
I'm not hiding.
Well, can I ask the question then?
Go ahead.
I'm going to be allowed to ask the question. This is great. Now, how do you respond to Nancy coming over to Richard's?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Where'd your head go? Oh, there he is.
What do you want to ask me about next? My favorite color?
What's your favorite color?
Blue.
You can't
I didn't
handle
know that.
the truth. So I'm allowed to ask the question, but it's not going to be answered.
Oh, let's see.
Who? I love that. Don't you
Let's
love
see.
when you ask someone about someone that's very important in their life, and they say you can ask them about it, and then they say who? Don't you love that, Richard? Wouldn't it be great if I said, tell me, how's your brother doing? I hear he had an operation in Kansas City. How's David doing? David who? Or if I asked Ken, I said, hey, how's Trina doing? Is she doing well? Your friend Trina, you like her? You used to date her. Trina who? Come on.
I didn't say Trina who.
No, I'm saying if you did, it would be bullshit, right?
Yeah, of course.
Now I say, he said I can finally ask him the fucking question after 22 minutes. I asked him, he said, Nancy who?
Nancy bought
Nancy
me.
Drew.
Nancy
No,
bought
don't
me
even
this.
go down.
Nancy bought me this.
Oh, that's really answering my
that's
question.
nice.
Oh, Nancy, now you remember who
Hey,
she
is that a code?
Nancy bought you that.
Hey,
Oh.
is that a code? Is that a code?
Yeah.
Oh, see, a
That's
secret
why I wore it.
code.
That's how I wore it.
Prick.
Is this the code?
Don't tell anybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Nancy.
Michael, you don't have to do this
Thanks.
because.
So you're showing some solidarity with Nancy by wearing that.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Is that a Freddy Krueger shirt? Oh no, it was
Oh,
red.
nice, Ken. Nice. Let's turn it into this. The slasher from Elm Tree, Nightmare on Elm Tree.
Street.
Go on, Greg. Go on.
Go on. I haven't done anything yet.
I know,
go
but I'm saying go on.
I haven't done one thing yet.
I know,
go
but
on.
I'm saying go ahead.
No, I don't have anything. I already did what I wanted to do, and I got the punk off. I got the punk off, and then you start doing this. You punked me off, Michael, and then you did this.
Did I do this?
You said go. You did it for the last 2 minutes. You said, ask me the question. I asked you the question. You punked me off. Then you did this.
Oh, Sal Matt Monaco does this all the time.
Sal Matt Monaco does it?
Yes.
That's a reason
all
not
the
to
time.
do it, then, isn't
It's
it?
like, oh, I'm going to hide this giant layer of fat that's below my arm.
What?
Yeah,
How
so-
dare you put down Sal Matt Monaco?
I didn't put
Let
him
you
down.
know.
I'm saying
He is watching his girlish figure. Is there something wrong with watching your girlish figure? The
No.
guy's on a diet.
No.
Give him some credit.
He's on a diet.
He's on a diet.
Okay.
He's on a diet.
All right.
So what is your
Show over?
answer to the question?
There was no question asked.
I think he cut you off when you said Nancy.
I did.
He wants you to
That's what I
finish the
said.
sentence.
Go ahead.
How many minutes
Greg.
are left?
Go ahead. We don't have any. We ran out of time.
Listen, I asked you Thursday if I could ask you the question. You said
Yes.
I'm going to say no comment.
Go ahead.
I asked you tonight the question. You
Go
said,
ahead.
Nancy who? So I've probably gone 2 for 2.
Jeez.
I'm on the verge of striking out. I mean,
Okay.
obviously, I don't think you should be doing this though, because I haven't.
Nancy, we tried. Okay.
What?
We tried.
Plus, when Nancy,
We have tried.
when Nancy was here,
Yes.
she said she will be looking forward to hear your
So
response
you said.
on the next show. Maybe
Yes.
you could give your response.
Well, here's the whole thing. If I gave a response that was satisfactory, Nancy would stop watching the show. So what I'm going to say is that my response is going to be on the next episode.
Oh my God! What
All
a
right.
fucking cop out.
So the next time.
and then you're going to do it. Then you're going to do your answer.
No,
2
so the
weeks
next-
from now, and
next
then 3 weeks from
episode-
now.
Next
4 weeks
week,
from now.
I will
Yeah.
expound on
This is the most.
What we're talking
this is the biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever experienced. in my
why
life.
it's been done in television history, since time immemorial.
We're not on
Since-
television.
We are on television.
We're not on television.
Are we on television?
Not yet.
No,
What
we're
are
not
we
on television.
Are we on radio?
We're not on radio, obviously. This is a video show.
Oh, all right.
Oh, can I give a message to Nancy?
Yeah.
Whoa!
If you want to go be really bold, Richard,
I
and
do.
speak honestly and from the heart.
Leave
go
it
ahead.
open.
Nancy, I was delighted that you came over during the week and that you talked about what was on your mind. The only thing I regret is I didn't say, Nancy, like, what's your email? Because I wanted to email you back and thank you, but now I have to thank you on the air.
Yeah.
So
So drop your email off at the
please,
house.
you're always welcome to come down and
Yeah.
and socialize and visit. Kenny just said yes.
Yeah. Thanks for my picture. It was great. It was a
Thanks for the
wonderful picture.
sweater. Thanks for the sweater.
But you're gonna make a prepared statement, Michael, that you want to give to
You
Nancy.
could have a prepared statement.
No, it'll be off the cuff.
Well, I hate
That's
to
what
tell
I
you,
do.
we're doing a show right now. You can be off the cuff right now, Michael.
How many seconds do we have left?
You got 52 left.
53
3 minutes?
seconds left. No, 53 seconds.
Oh.
It's a half
You know
hour
what I
show.
noticed?
Mm.
Ken, you should. I want to comment from you on this.
What?
I noticed that whenever I dilly-dally around about starting something, and I keep, saying, oh, almost great, like I haven't got to the meeting yet, you always say, this is, you've done this about 20, 30, 40 times, shut the fuck up, get going. What are you doing? What are you dilly-dallying around for? Why don't you get to the point? Why don't you get to the fucking point? Why don't you get to the fucking point? Now, Michael does this for 27 minutes, and not once do you say, get to the fucking point, despite the fact that you're the one who started this whole thing by going to the Adam College Library.
That's right.
So,
It was
so
your
why,
fault.
why are you not saying...
I didn't start a thing.
Everything
I went there to
was
go
fine.
see.
It was a domino
I went to go
effect.
see the play.
Domino effect,
That didn't
though.
happen.
But it was a domino effect.
Well, don't blame
That's
me.
right.
But I'm saying, forget about blaming you then. Why are you not saying, get going on this fucking statement? 27 minutes you've been dilly-dallying.
You
and
saw him
bullshitting around.
Thursday. I didn't.
I'm saying right now, tonight on the show. When I
You already
keep-
told me he wasn't going to talk about it. Why should I tell him to get to the point if he's not going
Because
to
you
talk
always
about
make
it?
me get to the point.
He already told me he was going to talk about it. Why would I say get to the point? Get to the point. Don't talk about it. Oh, okay. Don't talk about it.
Because we said we are going to break him down, remember? You said indirect
Well,
lines.
You were going to break me down? That's what you said?
That's what Ken said. He was talking about, that's what Jesus would do.
That's what Jesus would do.
Would break you.
We're going to break this son of a bitch down.
Break him down. And
I
said,
plead
can
the nose.
And I was like, can I quote you on that? He said, no, I have no heart. I can't be
Take this
quoted.
cup
That's right.
away from me because I don't want to taste its poison.
The problem for me is, Michael,
yes.
he said some shit about Richard WIcka months ago, and I brought it up in the show, right? He's like, why the fuck you do that? Now today he said, you're going to break you down. I bring that up in the show. Now he's either going to not give me a ride home tonight, or when he's in the car, he's going to say, oh, yeah. For 5 more years, he's going to be saying, all that time I said I'm going to break Michael down, and you fucking brought it up on the show. I didn't know. Like, no matter what he said, I can't bring it up. I can never remember anything I've ever said to Ken in my life. I can never say, hey, remember back in 84? Remember back in 77? I mean, I can't say anything because I'm bringing up something from the past. What else am I supposed to do? We've never conversed before.
Hey, I was going to bring up the liquors and stickers. You know what I'm talking about?
No,
you
I
don't
don't want the
know.
liquors and stickers because I know already what you're going to say. You
No.
go to me into it. You go to me into it. I don't want to go to anyone.
I want to hear about it.
It's none of your business. I said keep it your mouth out of it and keep your eyes out of it. I told you that earlier. You're just a busybody.
It was about trusting gays.
Oh, no.
It was about trusting gays.
All right, next
I
week's
trust
show.
all
Next week's
gays
show,
as much as
we're
I trust heterosexuals.
I said don't trust any gays.
Don't trust
What?
any gays.
Don't trust
Don't-
anything they say
Oh,
because they're liars.
how many seconds do we have
They're
left?
liars.
How many
They're all
seconds do we
A
have?
liars.
minute and 6 seconds.
All right, here.
They're all liars.
All
Trans-
homosexuals are liars, according to Ken.
Liquors and stickers are liars.
Transgender Day of Remembrance
What?
on November 19th.
Michael, who gives a
locally.
fuck?
International.
Who gives a flying fuck?
No, you should give the flying fuck. There
No
were 20,
way, man.
20
Let's talk about what he said.
24
All homosexuals are
transgenders were
liars.
murdered
All
this
homosexuals
year
are not
to
liars.
this date.
Yeah, they are.
Ken, human beings
Murder.
lie. It's nothing to do with their sexuality. Some heterosexuals lie.
They blatantly
Some-
lie to your face.
They all lie.
Period.
They're all liars.
Period.
Are none of them out of the closet?
Period.
If they're out of the closet, they're not lying, are they?
Whatever.
Richard, you don't think that all homosexuals are liars, do you?
No, it's stereotyping.
It's stereotyping.
Oh, man.
All of one type of group of sexual.
I ain't stereotyping. Not the ones I've met.
Well, that's what he means. You're
Stereotyping
You're
means
saying by
you think a
meeting
small
a
sample
small
and you-
sample that
and
you
you-
met, and you're using it as a you say all. That's stereotyping. That's what stereotyping. That's the definition of stereotyping.
Okay.
Great talking to you guys.
Sure.
Clap.
Bye.